Oh, hey guys. I decided I need a little bit of whiskey for this video. Some of you have probably already recognized what's been in the news this past day or two, and it's the child abuse problem within the Southern Baptist Church. All you got to do is type in Southern Baptist Convention child sex abuse and you'll see what's making headlines. I guess the thing that makes this so touchy for me is that I know that there's Southern Baptists in this community trying to convert ex-Jehovah's Witnesses to their belief system. And I find that troublesome because as far as I'm concerned, if you come out of Watchtower, you're actually a vulnerable person, because Watchtower has made you believe that you know the Bible better than anybody else in Christendom. And to a large extent, you actually do. You actually do know a whole lot more. But it takes more than just knowing a few scriptures here and there and how to combat like what a Southern Baptist might say at the door, or what a Calvinist might say at the door, or what a Mormon might say at the door. It goes beyond that, because a lot of the things that you have used to show the fallacy in these other religions, they can do the same thing with you, i.e. the Trinity doctrine. And I've mentioned this before, when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses waking up, and the reason why you're vulnerable, in my opinion, is because you see what Watchtower has done to manipulate some theology, how they manipulate some of the resources and do a ... They'll cherry pick. So when you wake up and you learn the mechanism that Watchtower has used, you automatically go in the opposite direction without thoroughly investigating the book, the control mechanism itself. Give yourself some time to research the book itself, not theology, the book. Come to learn, to understand that it's more than just the opposite view. Learn to realize that it's many views all tied together, but also understand and comprehend that the same ministers that are using this book to bring you to Jesus or even to Jehovah, look at what they're hiding behind this book. CSA, pedophilia, horrible, wicked, evil behavior. You know, it's interesting. There's a gun channel that I like to watch. It's called Guns, Family, and God. I like the content that he does regarding guns, ammunition. He keeps a tab on where you can get good, cheap ammunition, or, you know, things like that, what the government's doing to help change some of the laws and all this kind of stuff regarding firearms. But I've known for quite a while that this guy is a Southern Baptist, and as a Southern Baptist, he's got his own take on the harlot sitting on the wild beast. But it was interesting to watch. It was interesting to watch today his take on the current situation in the Southern Baptist Church regarding the horrific child sex abuse that they've been covering up for decades. I've heard this man say, I love the church, I love the Bible, but I've also heard him say things that are contradictory to church doctrine over the years. I don't watch a lot of his channels when he gets real preachy because I don't need that. I can go back and I can read the Bible myself and I can pick apart the BS. It's just this simple. But you have to spend time studying and researching, and you have to open your mind open to the possibility that what you're being taught isn't from God, it's man-made. And I'm seeing this more and more and more across the board with people leaving religion. They're willing to go back into the Bible and pick out the flaws because now they're finding something that they couldn't find in their religions, a level of honesty. And if you friends can work to find that inner honesty with yourself, you're going to be amazed at what's going to be opened up to you. For instance, that Gary Barreau, or whatever his name is on JW.org just recently, and Jane Doe showed a clip from his video regarding the prodigal son. And as I'm listening to him talk about it, as I'm listening to Jane Doe going back and reading those 500 words, something occurred to me that I've known for a long time, but I've never put it in the context of the prodigal son. You see, religion, your organized religions, Christianity, will take that parable that was uttered by Jesus and always apply it to how forgiving Jehovah is. Jehovah's ready to forgive. Well, when you listen to that coming out of the knuckleheads at Watchtower, and you've been disfellowshipped, you can't talk to your family because of this, you begin to realize that Jehovah's not a forgiving God. He's not. He's a very stringent God. I argue this point. Tell me what that baby between David and Bathsheba did. Tell me what sin that baby at 8 days committed that deserved Jehovah striking him dead. And if you don't believe me, pick up your King James Version, go and read it. Jane Doe already did. Yahweh struck that baby. And it took 8 days to die with a fever. There's a level of honesty right there that a lot of people do not aspire to achieve. They'd rather hide it because it puts a black eye on God. It puts a black eye on Jesus. It puts a black eye on the church, even to the point to where Watchtower will say that now you're part of Satan's system, but the Southern Baptist Church in their 280-page document say that those people are satanic. It's all one and the same. But going back to the prodigal son, if you spend the time studying and researching, you will realize that there's something about that prodigal son illustration that's really a fallacy, in a sense. And it really isn't about forgiveness. It's really not about forgiveness. It's about jealousy. It's about jealousy between the two sons, is what that illustration is really about. If you stop and think about it, why did Cain kill Abel? Because Jehovah approved of the animal sacrifice. Jealousy. Jacob and Esau. Jealousy. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of stew. He found little value in his birthright. The same little value that you read in Scripture that Jehovah came to despise his inheritance. Done a video on it. The Scriptures are there, but do you have the honesty that it takes to admit it? Very, very few people do. Very few people do. But the reason why the prodigal son is a fallacy, first of all, I know the Scripture says without an illustration the Messiah wouldn't speak, so nobody challenges those illustrations. Well, I'm going to challenge that right here and see what you guys think. We all know the story of the prodigal son. He lives a debauched life, wastes all his money. He becomes so destitute. Oh, don't forget, a severe famine broke out. Right? A severe famine. So he went to work for a rich guy. And he longed to eat the same food as the pigs. How severe was that famine if they could afford to feed the pigs? Why not butcher the pigs and eat the pigs? Right there it tells you that illustration isn't going to work at all. Because if that famine is that severe, why are you feeding the pigs and not butchering the pigs to feed your hunger? Or to feed your neighbor's hunger? No, what that illustration once again shows is the jealousy between the two boys. See? The prodigal son goes home, the father's going to naturally open up his arms. Naturally, because that's the natural instinct. But it's the other son that remains jealous. You don't believe me? Go look at the story between Isaac and Ishmael. It's jealousy. Boyhood fighting. Wanting your inheritance. It's not about forgiveness. It's about the jealousy between two beings. In the desert, between Jesus and Satan, you still get the two brothers, the two sons of God, arguing over control of the world, arguing over an inheritance, if you will. The only way you can achieve this is to do research. Get back into the Bible and be willing. Be willing to call BS. Because I'll tell you, friends, what? In this community, the ministers from other religions view us as weak-minded sheep. They view us as being easily moldable. Because in their mind, Watchtower did not properly teach us the Bible. That's how they view this community. But yet, those same people, I guarantee you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to see the videos from the Baptist ministers that are in this community. I want to see your videos on what is in the news right now regarding the CSA of the Southern Baptist Church. Are you willing to give your religion a black eye? Like ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are willing to give Watchtower a black eye. Do you have that integrity? Do you have the intestinal fortitude to do that? Or are you going to throw in a straw man argument? Are you going to throw in a red herring? Or are you going to gaslight as to what normally happens in this community? Just gaslight, gaslight, gaslight. Jehovah's Witnesses can't figure it out anyway because they've been gaslighted the whole time they were inside a Watchtower. You know, this community has suffered enough black eyes. You got the Thailand gate. Now you got the Manning gate. You've got Redwood Gate. Yeah, let's go ahead and have a couple people on a documentary showing that they broke into a Kingdom Hall. Yeah, that's real bright, Einstein. Bobby Ploss won't go away. It's difficult. It's difficult to sit here and try to be a voice of reason when so many people behind the scenes, especially these other religionists, calling their religious friends and saying, don't watch Mike and Kim videos because they're anti-Jesus, they're anti-Bible, they're anti this, they're anti that, they're too controversial to have them in a documentary. How do I know? Well, because Jude 3 has no problem talking to me. None at all. He's exposed stuff to me on a level that doesn't surprise me. I mean, anybody who can put two and two together knows what goes on in these secret little forums. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. So anyhow, guys, for what it's worth, thanks for listening. I hope you can take to heart the importance of going back and studying for yourself. You want a really good resource? Jane Doe. She puts out a video every day showing the inconsistencies and how the stories fall flat on their face. It's easy for me to do. I just don't have the time. Just like the story of the prodigal son. It's not about God forgiving. It's not about that at all. How dare you, Watchtower? How dare you use that illustration to point to how forgiving Jehovah is when you yourselves are not that forgiving? No, that story has everything to do with the jealousy between the two sons, going all the way back to the jealousy of Canaan. In fact, you want to go back a little further? Go back to Enki and Enlil. It's the same jealousy right there. It goes way beyond the pages of the Bible. But you got to be willing to do your research. You got to be willing to think outside the box. You got to be willing to be honest with yourself. So guys, thanks for watching. I got to admit, this is the 5th time that I've done this video, because the previous 4 times is that I see the news and the CSA and the Southern Baptist Convention, the Southern Baptist Church, and it's going to mimic Watchtower. And yet the Baptists in this community have no problem speaking out about the CSA and Watchtower, but I guarantee you they'll be silent on their own church. Because, like the Jehovah's Witness, they don't dare to bring reproach. They don't dare to give the Bible in their church a black eye. They don't dare. But I do. Thanks for watching.